PUBG.
Is anyone else tired of Battle Royales? Because I sure am. Battle Royales are a fun concept and I do understand the appeal to some degree, having 100 or more players teaming up and making it to the end. However, I never liked the standard formula. I tried PUBG, which is the game that started the hype for all this, and I honestly don't get the appeal. Looting is fun and building your weapon as well, when it can be done right. But then you get into one fight and basically everything you've been doing for the past 5, 10, or 15 minutes can get erased in 5 seconds. One thing I personally can't stand in online or PvP games is RNG, Random Number Generator. Sorry, you don't get to win this round because the last 3 buildings you went to had nothing but armor and bandages. Oh well. Apex Legends has been one of the worst games I've ever played that had this problem, but fortunately there are the BRs that come around and put a twist to the game that makes it fresh and enjoyable. Warzone 1, which I will be calling it just Warzone, was one of these games. Featuring a large yet condensed map filled with weapons and gear, it really did feel like I had a chance in almost any early game situation. Granted, not every ground looted weapon was good, but it was more of a fluke than anything else if you didn't at least get some sort of submachine gun and enough ammo to fight a team. When it comes to Warzone, there are a few elements that made it stand out from the rest. First off, with being able to buy back your teammates instead of trying to revive them at a station. Secondly, the general gunplay that Call of Duty offers, allowing for chaotic but rewarding gunfights. Third, the contracts being spread about the map, allowing players to rebuild or to buy whatever they need. And there's also kill streaks you can buy, such as the airstrikes or UAV to mark nearby players, and being able to obtain perks as well as your own custom build weapon from a loadout box that you could buy. And who can forget the gulag system of being able to go one-on-one with another player with the opportunity to get yourself back in the game. There's half a dozen reasons, if not more, why Warzone is so different from other BRs, and personally was far more fun than any other game in the genre or mode. So now Warzone 2 comes along, and well, they did it. They turned the game into a generic battle royale. The map itself is fine, it is larger than the previous maps, but it seems to have a decent flow and a good spread of buildings to cover, far more than what Caldera offered. But they changed way too many things to make it more in line with the games that already exist. One of the best feelings in Warzone is being able to run around in fights and outgun your enemies.
No, God, please, no!
1 second, bro. Nice.
Oh, good shit, good shit.
Come here, Ray, come here.
Okay. However, here there is no movement. This is the game where momentum comes to die. The character's boots aren't glued to the ground, they're nailed to it. There was a trick in Warzone which was slide cancelling, and I know everyone's tired of it, and that's perfectly fine. Let's remove slide cancelling, which Warzone 2 did. But now, whenever you slide, you can't even fire your gun until you're at the very end of the slide, which makes sliding completely worthless unless you time it frame perfect. There's also now a diving mechanic, which again doesn't really help if you're trying to play aggressive. To be clear, I don't want the same exact mechanics to show up in Warzone 2, but I would like some more flexibility to my movement to get away from gunfights. In regular Warzone, they bumped up the player health to 300 with a full set of armor plates, add on to the unique movement system, and players can make good use of their health and make 1v2s or 1v3s viable, or have just enough health to get away from a gunfight. Going into Warzone 2, now that the movement is gone and players can't really extend their health, you'd think they would keep the full health to 300, but instead, they dropped it back down to 250 with full armor. This is where I feel like there's a lot of conflicting changes. They want to make the game more grounded and tactical, but they don't want to keep the fan-driven changes such as a higher TTK, which would allow players a slightly longer window of opportunity to get out of a fight. We kind of need that now more than ever since we can't jump, slide, or frankly dodge out of an oncoming fight. Warzone 2 has been dumbed down to a one-dimensional game. If and when a team is taking shelter in a building, there's not much you can do. Do you have any grenades? If so, use them all. Otherwise, you will stand no chance in trying to march in there. Oh, what's that? It's early game and there's no grenades in sight? Oh well, guess you'll have to wuss out and leave them alone and find your own building. Because gunfights aren't encouraged here. At all. I'm sorry, I know the 30-something-year-olds out there who remembered when COD used to play like this, but I don't ever expect any modern arcade shooter, much less Call of Duty, to play slower than molasses. Yet here we are. One other thing I want to mention is the new looting system, where everything is in a bag, but sometimes there's the normal chest as well that throws loot on the ground. It's like they couldn't make up their mind as to which system they wanted to use, so they used both at the same time. In Warzone, whenever you got the full kill on someone, you can run over their loot and your character will automatically pick up any cash and ammo that you're missing. Sure, it wasn't the most OCD thing to look at, but it kept the pace up and allowed players to continue fighting without having to slow down. There's an issue that the game always had when it came to throwing loot on the ground, and that's when the loot would clip under the ground or a rock or wall, which it still does in Warzone 2. But instead of looking for a way to fix that, similar to how Fortnite did, they said, screw it, everything in the box. I don't get it. My own personal theory is that they wanted to remake PUBG, but be slightly more competent than the developers over there. If PUBG actually did their job and continued to build up the game instead of adding money-grabbing cosmetics, Warzone 2 would probably be very different than what it is now. In Warzone 2, there's less money to find unless you run contracts, and outside of buying one gun, that's right, $5,000 for one loadout gun and no perks, you can instead clear out a stronghold filled with AI, which respawns once or twice, get your loadout, and hope no one else is nearby waiting to turn you into Swiss cheese. I'm sorry, I just don't see the appeal or the potential that Warzone 2 has. It turned itself into every other BR and removed the aspects of it that made it fun and challenging. Imagine that. A game that requires you to learn a mechanic to be a better player. Again, I don't mind the movement getting slowed down, but it's how much they slowed it down. Battle Royales are already a slow game mode that takes 20 minutes if not longer to complete a match. I don't see why they want to make that even longer by completely destroying aggressive gameplay. In any case, I've never been a fan of the bog standard BR experience, so there's nothing for me in Warzone 2, at least for the next few months. We'll have to see what they do, if anything. I'll probably do some DMZ mode matches, but that's also boring to me. In any case, Warzone 2 has lost almost everything that made it unique, hectic, fun, and challenging, and now you just sit in buildings and win games. Fun. I am Mr. Rain, and I'll probably not see a lot of you guys back here. Oh well, see ya.